Yeah, so right now I want to make one of my sports takes, and today I want to talk about LeBron James. LeBron James, as you know, plays for the Los Angeles Lakers, and even though I've never been a huge LeBron fan, I've always appreciated his talent and his ability and his longevity. No one has ever played at the level that he's playing at um, right now. I mean, he's in his 22nd year and he's still a top five player in the league, in my opinion. Um, so yeah, just a few comments. First of all, I want to touch on this feud that he's having with Steven A.Smith. Some of you know about this. Others, if you don't really follow, you might not be aware of this. You know, and I'm to be honest, I'm getting tired of both of these guys, man. I mean, they're both good at what they do. No matter what I say about Stephen A, I wind up watching him pretty much every day. After I wake up and do my meditation or whatever, I turn on his show to hear what the latest sports news is, but and sometimes Stephen A will say something that's brilliant, and it's just what you need to hear. And other times it's like, he can go from brilliant to coonish in a matter of seconds. So um, anyway, so LeBron and Stephen A are having some kind of feud. I guess Stephen A had said some things about LeBron's son Bronny not being ready to play in the NBA, and that like basically the only reason he's in the NBA is because of LeBron. LeBron pushed it, and he's accurate there in my opinion, because the Lakers, LeBron was about to be a free agent, and it seems like that was part of the deal for LeBron to sign, is that the Lakers had to sign Bronny, and it's cool. But Bronny's where he needs to be. He spent most of the season in the G League, and he's actually done well, and he's done better than I thought. So, he actually might be a guy that does have a future, but I mean, he'll never be like his daddy, because we know LeBron is all-time great. So anyway, they're having this feud, and Stephen A. Kind of went off the other day about how they had a confrontation where LeBron told him, not to, basically not to talk smack about my son. And I heard Stephen A say something to the effect of, if LeBron had to put his hands on him, he would have swung at LeBron. And I'm like, no, 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 just stop. First of all, you're not going to swing on LeBron, even if he put his hands on you. You know, um, LeBron would drop you instantly. I mean, there's no way any sane person would put themselves in that kind of danger, man. This brother's like 6'9", what is he, 270 pounds. Come on, man, stop, okay? And I seen that little clip of you boxing with your personal trainer, man, and you looked ridiculously weak, bro. You wouldn't have a chance against LeBron James or any professional athlete. So just stop with the bravado and the BS, okay? Now, he doesn't like LeBron, he, you know, and I understand some of his reasonings, because, I feel the same way in certain ways. It seems like LeBron wants to be the GOAT, the greatest of all time, or he wants to be recognized as that. And bro, just be happy where you're at. You're an all-time great. Some people consider you the GOAT. Some don't, you know? Now, I'll give you this. You're the GOAT as far as longevity. No one has ever played this long, this well. So it all comes down to what the criteria is for the GOAT. Because I mean, to me, as great as LeBron is, I can name a few players that if I had to pick, there's a few guys I would pick ahead of LeBron. I mean, for me, the obvious ones are like Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem, Michael Jordan. I would take Kobe over LeBron, and I would, um, but the whole GOAT conversation to me is ridiculous because what it boils down to is who do you like the best? Because, there's about 6 guys, 7 guys that should be in the conversation if there's a conversation. Now, what I don't like about Stephen A is he has Michael Jordan as the GOAT, and I don't have a problem with that. My problem is that he acts like anyone who doesn't have Jordan as the GOAT is like out of their mind. And bro, like I said, the GOAT conversation, it's like we're at a place in society where it's like there has to be just one guy who's better than everyone. It can't be a few guys that are pretty much on the same level, and you just have to look at the circumstances of their career, the era that they played. There's too many variables to just come up with one guy. Okay? Michael Jordan was great. Okay? Like I used to have a problem because people would always say, well, Kobe's the closest thing to Michael Jordan. So if Michael Jordan's the GOAT, how come you have Kobe ranked 10th? It doesn't make any sense. So the whole GOAT conversation is ridiculous. But LeBron, out of all the GOAT candidates, he's the only one that I've actually heard say, I am the GOAT. Like, he said in an interview that after he made some kind of play, he said, after that, I knew I was the greatest of all time. I mean, that's fine. You have confidence. But even Jordan never said he was the GOAT. Jordan said it would be disrespectful to all those greats that came before him, Wilt, Kareem, Magic, Bird, Dr. J. He said it would be disrespectful because the eras, it's hard to compare eras. And so if Jordan never said that, I mean, come on, man. Kobe never said that. Kobe wouldn't even say he's the greatest Laker. And Kareem doesn't say it. He'll say that he deserves to be in the discussion. So, LeBron's on this thing where he wants to be the GOAT. He doesn't like how they compare guys from the past and act like they're on his level. In fact, I saw him on TV on, I think the guy's name is Chris McCafferty. He has a TV show on ESPN, and they were interviewing LeBron. And LeBron made a comment that if Giannis Antetokounmpo had played in the 70s, he would average 250 points a game. Now, I know he wasn't, maybe it was a joke or whatever, but it was totally disrespectful. Because trust me, I came through the era of the 70s, and yeah, players today are generally more athletic than some of those players, but my contention is superstars of any level, of any era, could play in any era. But see, what you have to take into consideration is like the guys in the 70s, they didn't have what the guys today have. These guys have weight training. They have nutritionists that prepare all their meals for them. They have the best air travel. Guys back in the day, I heard a player, Rick Barry, who was tremendous, who, he said back in the day, a nutritious meal for us was steak and potatoes. They didn't know anything about nutrition, weight training. That's why Rick Barry said if he played in today's league, and he played in the 60s and the 70s to the early 80s, he said if he played today, he would be way better just with all the stuff. And then at the same time, if the guys today went back, there was a whole level of physicality that these guys haven't experienced today. That kind of died out in the earlier 2000s, you know, like Kobe got some of that, Shaq got some of that. But these guys today, now, people like LeBron, Steph Curry, Jokic. I wish I could put Embiid in there, but he's always hurt. So, but those guys could play back in the day. But you know, especially if they were born in those times and where the physicality was a normal thing. If you just took them now and dropped them back there, it would take a minute for them to adjust. And also a guy like Steph Curry, I don't know, he's like in his 15th year. He would have been done after 10, just because of his size and the physicality. You know, the average superstar back then generally did like 10, 12 years, you know. Kareem did 20, and that was amazing. He was the first, but he was into yoga and all other kind of stuff. So yeah, I just felt away when LeBron said Giannis would average 250 points, because that's totally ridiculous. No one could average 250 points in any era of basketball. First of all, there's not enough time in the game to score that many points. So maybe he was kind of being tongue-in-cheek or whatever, but I took it like he's tired of people comparing like the great players of other eras and putting them above him. He's solely committed to being the GOAT. And my thing is, dude, just be solely committed to winning, okay? Help the Lakers win a championship. All that other stuff. That's why Jordan says, man, all that other stuff is disrespectful. You just disrespected a whole era of great ball players when you said Giannis, who is a tremendous player, would average 250 points. I was highly offended, man, but it did not surprise me. Nothing LeBron says surprises me, you know, and he's a member of the billionaire class, and I don't know, man. It's just like, bro, I hope you can get it together and get the Lakers to at least the Western Conference Finals, and we'll see where we go from there. But get off all this stuff. You and Stephen A, man, y'all can be annoying sometimes, and this is just how I feel. And I know I'm not alone, and like I said, I respect LeBron's greatness. He's tremendous, you know. I mean, he's been tremendous. He's especially tremendous now. So if anyone asked me, was LeBron the GOAT, I would say, if we're talking about career and sustaining a high level of play, yeah, then he's the GOAT. No one's ever done that. You know, no one's ever played this long, this well, you know, and he's maintained himself. And when he was in the Olympics with Kobe showed him how to work out, and he puts his money in that, which he should do as long as he's playing. But leave all this other stuff, man. Nobody cares, man. You know, that you pass Kareem. I mean, Kareem didn't have three-point shots. Kareem, you know, Kareem did play 20 years, but there's a lot of play. Like Jordan, what did Jordan play? Like 12 or 14. You know, I would take Jordan over LeBron in a heartbeat. I would take Kobe over LeBron in a heartbeat. I would take Kareem over LeBron in a heartbeat. I would take Wilt for sure over LeBron in a heartbeat. Bill Russell, a lot of, you know, so it's like all these rankings, and, you know, it comes down to who you like. And I don't have a problem if somebody thinks LeBron is the GOAT. My problem is that not only does he think it, and that's not the problem, he's supposed to think that, but that he expresses it publicly in so many ways. So like what he said about Giannis scoring 250, to me, he was taking a shot at all those people who played back then, and the people that, you know, that don't see him as the GOAT. You know, he was so... Anyway, I hope I wasn't rambling, but I'm a big sports fan. You know, I played sports, and I don't know, man. It's like a lot of things. I feel like not to diss the younger generations, but it's like every generation seems to look back at the previous generations like, oh, y'all weren't nothing compared to us, and you know, it's not necessarily true. There's some things back then that were actually better than now. Evolution doesn't always mean better. Okay? Anyway, that's all I wanted to say. All right, blessed love.